the first bill, and we'll go on down the line like that. I do want to announce that PG 309, an alcohol bill affecting Laurel Main Street in my district, is not going to be discussed today at the request of my colleague, Delegate Ben Barnes. We will not be discussing the last bill on the list. Mr. Holland, if you don't mind going ahead, I'm going to read the first bill on the agenda is PG 30223, Delegate Nick Charles. This is an alcoholic beverage license bill. Could you tell us what it does?
Sure. So this bill authorizes the holder of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license in Prince George's County to serve beer, wine, and liquor by the glass for on-premise consumption, and authorizes the holder of an entertainment permit to contract with promoters and publicists with promoters to publicize, sell tickets for, and organize an on-stage event, which may include patron dancing and entertainment. This bill also limits inspections done by the Board of License Commissioners to no more than 2 times in a calendar month, unless the license holder has given prior consent or the inspection is being conducted in response to a complaint. With the exception of covert inspections, this bill requires the board to provide a license holder a report of the inspection within 2 business days after the inspection. It requires the board to publish a list containing the number of inspections conducted in each licensed premises in the previous year, and requires the board to publish and maintain a list of penalties for violations of alcoholic beverage laws in Prince George's County.
Okay, thank you so much for that. That's a lot. Delegate Alston, yeah, thank you for that summary. Delegate Alston, since you're the only other delegate right now on here, do you have any questions or concerns or issues that you'd like to ask about this bill?
No, not right now. I do have a question. Did Latasha send us an agenda? I'm trying to find it, and our email got slammed last night with the other bill.
Oh,
I did.
I
did, but I can resend it.
Okay.
I can do a search.
Yeah, do you mind doing that? So
yeah.
Yeah. Is it separate from like the link and other information? Was the agenda, or was it part? I had with my link a description or a PDF of each of these 6 bills. So
Yes.
Delegate Alston, you might be looking for something that's kind of included with a bunch of other files.
Okay.
Okay, I have a quick question, Mr. Holland, about PG 303. Is this from your reading of this bill, is this a brand new type of license, or is it these restrictions on inspections and the other details that you went over? Are those just like a tightening, a narrowing of an existing type of license?
Yes, this is not a new type of license. This only expands the Class B to specify that alcohol can be served by the glass. And then all the other stuff is, as you said, it's just a tightening of the law. Because right now there's nothing that requires the board to, like, for example, maintain a list of violations. So it's a little more subjective. So this kind of forces them to make that change.
And the reporting back within 2 days.
Exactly. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, Delegate Alston, I do not see any other delegates with us yet, but I'm pretty sure a couple will jump on in the next few minutes. So if we do not have any more questions on PG 30223, let's go ahead to PG 30523 by Delegate Jazz Lewis. This is another alcoholic beverage bill. So Mr. Holland, could you give us a description?
Yes. This one's much shorter. This bill will authorize the Board of License Commissioners for Prince George's County to issue a Class B DD license to any number of restaurants located on Central Avenue within the area of the Capitol Beltway to the District of Columbia border.
Okay, and could you say one more time what that corridor is, or how are the boundaries described where this bill would impact?
It is to any restaurant that is located on Central Avenue within the area from the Capitol Beltway to the District of Columbia border. That's
right. Okay, so we're talking about Maryland 214. Delegate Alston, I know this is your district. Do you have any questions, any concerns? for Mr. Holland, or just in general, any comments?
Yes, several. The first question is there anything in this bill that would limit or restrict or provide any type of quality controls over which restaurants would receive a license, this type of alcohol license,
Mhm.
on-premise alcohol license?
There is not. All this does is authorize the issuing of a license.
So a carryout that sells, let's say pizza,
Mhm.
can start selling liquor under
Um,
this bill?
it's still limited to a Class B DD license, which is
But
for
except beer and wine.
right for restaurants. That if a pizza place would qualify for a Class B DD license, then yes, they could apply for it.
Is that what, so what would allow a person to qualify for it,
I would have to look up
or
the.
company?
I know a Class B TD license are for qualifying restaurants whose average daily receipts from the sale of food and non-alcoholic beverages exceed the daily receipts from the sale of alcoholic beverages. But I'm not sure if there is more qualifications than that. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. Are there any square footage requirements or investment requirements for the restaurants that would receive these licenses?
Again, I don't think so, but I will look
Okay.
into it more. This isn't changing anything from the current requirements for the Class B DD. So anything that would fall into that would still fall into that, but I don't know off the top of my head what those are, which I'll look into that though.
Do you know where, okay, I see in the bill that there are 2 different locations that currently have it. Are there any other locations that you're aware of that have this type of business development district licensing?
There are several in the code. Give you 1 second to pull it up if you like. Let's see.
Delegate Austin, I can tell you that I was just made aware, thank you. I was just made aware that the city of Laurel along the Main Street corridor has, I believe it's the same designation, a BDD zone, although I can tell you that there are no license holders as we speak with that area. I don't know when this designation was made. I don't recall. It might very well have been in the last few years when I was here. I just don't recall. And someone just reminded me of it in the past few days. So yeah, and Mr. Holland might need to do a follow-up on that.
Yeah, is that the one at East West Highway and Bellcrest Road? I see that, and then there's one for Arena Drive in the Capitol Beltway. In any event, we're not voting this today. I wanted to make sure that those issues were out. I will be offering some amendments to this bill.
Yeah, and I have one question, Mr. Holland. Did I hear you right that this would be an unlimited number of licenses along this stretch from, where 214 begins in Prince George's all the way to the district line?
That is correct, yes. And I'll just add on to that. That's not or in the current license, it's generally between 1 and 10 license. So this is kind of unnatural, I guess would be the word. Just to add that in.
And then the current
Yeah,
one,
I was. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say the current ones, they don't have that long of a stretch either, because that's a pretty long area in my district that's being covered. Like the other ones are like 1 mile.
Right.
Or small areas. This is a whole entire corridor. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Austin. So if we still have not had any other colleagues join, so we are going to go to then PG 30623. This is a bill being put forward by Senator Watson. Mr. Holland, can you describe PG 30623?
Yes. This bill authorizes the holder of a Class B stadium, baseball stadium, beer and light wine license to also sell liquor for on-premise consumption.
Okay, so this would be, it's not named, would this bill, it sounds like affect the Bowie Bay Sox Stadium?
I'm
Even
not
if
sure if that is the intent or not.
Can you read the description of the stadium again? Or what it says about stadiums?
It's a Class B stadium, which is a baseball stadium, beer and light wine license.
Okay, I'm thinking that's probably what it is, and given that Senator Watson is the sponsor, that stadium, the Bay Sox Stadium, is in his district. Again, is this a license, Mr. Howland, that exists already for FedEx Field or anywhere else, but a slightly different version or variation on that license?
It is a license that already exists, the Class B beer and light wine, and this would add on the ability to sell liquor.
Oh, okay, I see. But specific to a stadium, even if it's not named a baseball stadium. Okay, gotcha. Delegate Alston, do you have any questions about this bill?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Okay, and so let's move on to Delegate Alston's bill, PG 30723, another licensing bill. This is a little different. It's a prohibition involving transfers. Can you give us a description, Mr. Howland?
Sure. This bill will prohibit the Board of License Commissioners for Prince George's County from approving the transfer or sale of a Class A beer, wine, or liquor license. It requires a license that has expired to be returned to the board, and prohibits the board from issuing a license that has expired and been returned to the board. Right. Yeah.
Okay, Delegate Alston, I am going to exercise my prerogative as chair and ask you, since you're here, you and I are the only two delegates here. Can you talk to us a little more about this bill, about kind of what prompted it and what you hope to accomplish with it, I guess?
Absolutely. So in some of our more established communities, especially inside of the Beltway, we have a proliferation of liquor stores. It's plagued those communities. It makes it very hard to develop and very hard for people to have the quality of life that they want and deserve. And there have been constant complaints about the number of liquor stores. So what this bill does is it says that those owners cannot sell those licenses or transfer them, because what happens is you have owners that they have the stores, and then they may transfer the license to someone else or sell the license. And so you're never able to get rid of the entity. And with other professional licenses, we don't see that. Liquor is a very dangerous substance. It's an intoxicant, and we don't have that with any other type of drug that's on the market. If you're a pharmacist, you cannot transfer your pharmacy license to someone else. If you are a doctor and you're practicing medicine, you cannot transfer your medical license. Lawyers can't transfer their licenses. Accountants can't transfer their licenses. Even cab drivers can't transfer their licenses. We can't transfer our driver's license. So I don't find it appropriate that liquor stores should be able to transfer and sell this license when there's such a dangerous substance that they're putting into the community, when some of these stores, not all of them, because some of them are many of them are very good actors, but some of them have plagued the community with crime. They haven't reinvested in the community. And so in order to start decreasing that population, what this bill will do is it will recapture all of those licenses. That, coupled with the fact that we have a moratorium on issuing licenses in certain districts, should help us decrease the population. And then when the time is appropriate and we decide as an organization or as a delegation to lift the moratorium, we can put better restrictions in place as to where licenses should take place and where they should not take place.
Well, thank you for sort of expanding on this and where it comes from. So I have two quick questions. One is to clarify that this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, that is for stores, what we call package stores. These are not in in, sit down restaurants or other businesses where people are consuming alcohol on the premises. These are the to-go beer, wine, and liquor, correct?
And if council could help, that was the intent. It
Yes,
was
yes.
supposed to be for off-premise sales.
Off
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then, Delegate Alston, could you clarify where it says transfer? That would be, I know what a transfer is and how the current system works. And I agree with you that I think it's too loosey-goosey and does allow, especially problematic, businesses or businesses with a history of problems in the, with the business in the community to continue. Would this occur where you talk about, the board kind of recapturing the license, either when the license is set to expire or when someone just wants to give it up? They're done with, running a liquor store, they're retiring, they're moving to Florida, whatever they're doing, or no one else in the family wants to take it over. When would this occur? What are the circumstances under which this recapturing would occur?
I would say, it's my understanding, the way this works is these licenses are actually in the name of people. And so if a person were to die, or if they were doing estate planning and they wanted to deed it or will it to their heirs, this would prevent that from happening. If they wanted, let's say they bribed someone and they wanted to get rid of the license before they had a felony on their record, as has maybe been the case previously, it would not allow something like that to happen because the transferability of the license would be null and void by this bill. That is the intent of the bill.
Thank you for that clarification. And one more point, and I know I don't think your bill addresses this, but can either you or Mr. Holland speak to when that transfer occurs? How is there, because my understanding is there's a price for it, right? It's like purchased. How is that set? How is that regulated? Is it not regulated? How does that part work?
Free market. And so that's part of the problem because they're selling these licenses upward of $1 million, sometimes maybe even more. They're very valuable licenses. And I just don't think that this should be allowed with the problems that are taking place in some of our communities. And the problems are coming from these stores, adding to, some of the other issues that are the development problems like the vape shops now that are proliferating. We have to see some of this bad development from going on.
Thank you. I applaud you for trying to take this on. I don't think I've ever seen a bill like this. And I would imagine we're going to have a pretty robust conversation on Sunday. I hope you've talked to people who plan to come attend Sunday's Zoom hearing and weigh in on this bill. So thank you. Okay, we are going to go on to then if there are no more comments or questions, we're going to go ahead. Yeah, thank you for further, sort of enlightening us and describing the situation and what you're trying to do with PG 307. So PG 30823 is the last bill we're going to be discussing today. That is Delegate Jeffrey Long's bill, switching subjects from alcohol. This bill addresses the office of the sheriff. Can you, Mr. Holland, further describe this bill for us?
Yes, this bill would increase the number of full-time assistant sheriffs provided to the sheriff of Prince George's County from 4 to 5, provide that the Fraternal Order of Police will negotiate on behalf of deputy sheriffs in benefit matters not related to salary, and would clarify that the office of the sheriff may investigate domestic violence calls and is not required to transfer those investigations to another law enforcement agency.
Okay, very interesting. So I was not aware in years past, for many years, the number of state's attorneys that our county state's attorney's office could hire had to be approved. Any changes in that number in state law, I think that has gone away. I did not know that there was this provision in the law for the office of sheriff. So we're talking about duties of deputy sheriffs. And did I understand you to say there are only currently five?
There's currently 4. This will bump it up to 5.
Oh, okay. It would go from 4 to 5.
Yes.
And it would address, you talked about the union negotiating on behalf, which I would imagine they already do. Is that not the case, that they don't come under the FOP?
I'm not sure. This is not my expertise. I can look into that though to see how that currently is.
Okay, and then
Negotiated.
the last provision, and Delegate Austin, maybe you have some insights. The last provision that you mentioned about the ability of the deputy sheriffs to fully, I guess, investigate domestic violence cases. I thought to a certain degree they already had that ability. I know the sheriff's department from my time on the county council handles a certain percentage or from certain parts of the county domestic violence calls. So in other words, the sheriff's department responds rather than Prince George's County Police.
Mhm.
Can you give us any further insight or go back to that part of that description of the bill you read about their ability to pursue domestic violence cases?
I'm not sure how that changes at the moment, but I can look into that and I'll have an answer for you next time if that's okay.
Helpful, but just really quickly, could you reread, I guess, just the summary, the part that says about the ability of these deputy sheriffs or whether that was the department in general further investigating beyond, I guess, the call for help?
Mhm.
What is it?
Yes, the summary says that this would clarify that the office of the sheriff may investigate domestic violence calls and is not required to transfer those investigations to another law enforcement agency.
Okay. And that agency is obviously PGPD. Delegate Austin, do you have any thoughts or questions about the sheriff's department bill?
I just sent a question to the sheriff. I was wondering about the FOP portion because I believe they had their own union, and it says in the bill, the Deputy Sheriff's Association. So I'm wondering if that's been disbanded, if they're requesting this. So I'm just curious about that. I know that the sheriffs respond to the domestic violence calls and they do send those away. And I'm just wondering if they're asking for this additional responsibility, if they're going to have the manpower. So I'll ask those questions to the appropriate person, which I think would be the sheriff. So those are kind of my general thoughts. I like the bill because I think we could definitely use some help investigating these DV cases to take it off the police department. And if the sheriff's department has the bandwidth, I think it'd be a great place since they're responding to the calls in most cases anyway.
Yeah, thank you for those observations, Delegate Austin. I hope that and I can certainly follow up with Delegate Long. I would hope someone from the sheriff's department would participate on Sunday in the public hearing and give sort of some thoughts or feedback. My recollection from my time on the council is that it's only in a certain part of the county. It's not countywide where the sheriff's department responds. It's tied to 1 or 2 police districts, not council. It's not a political, boundary. It aligns with certain police districts in the county, I believe, in around the middle of the county, middle to sort of South County. It's not the case, certainly, I know in North County where the sheriff's department responds. And I'm talking about the initial response when someone calls for help, calls 911. If it's a domestic, the sheriff's department goes, but it sounds like beyond that, what Delegate Long is after, it sounds like from the description is after the initial response, allowing or giving the sheriff's department the authority to continue with the case after the call. But we should be able to get clarification then by at Sunday's hearing, if not before. Someone else has joined us. I'm not sure who that is. I see someone connecting by phone. Ms. Coleman, who else do we have with us? Do you know?
Delegate Woods.
Oh, good morning, Delegate Woods. How are you? We can see you, but if you can hear us, we good morning. We see you in the chat. We were just discussing the very last bill. Thank you for trying to get on here. We're probably going to end up adjourning shortly because we've gone through 5 of the 6 late filed law enforcement bills. The first 4 were alcoholic beverage licensing bills. One was the last one we discussed on that list was Delegate Alston's prohibition on the transfer of certain types of licenses. And we just got finished discussing Delegate Long's bill affecting how the authority, the current limited authority of the Sheriff's Department to respond to domestic violence calls and sort of expanding on that. So I want to give Delegate Woods any opportunity to ask any, questions, quick ones if you have any, or thoughts or comments. And if not, I think I'm going to suggest that we adjourn. Delegate Woods, do you have any comments, questions about the bills? You're aware of the bills that were on this list that we've gone over? I am not seeing. Oh, there you go. She can't talk live. Oh, goodness. Okay, so she is at another event and she is, thank you for joining us. I understand. Thanks for letting us know your situation. So again, for Delegate Woods, I assume you're listening. If you're not talking, that's okay. And Delegate Alston, the purpose of today was to just go over these bills, the basic description of them. It's the first time I'm really seeing them other than their titles and their sponsors, and hearing a little bit more about what these bills would do. Again, we have, for the listening public, we have a public hearing on Sunday, just like the hearing we had back in early January on the bills that were filed before the deadline. This is the opportunity for Prince George's County residents and any stakeholders with any interest in late filed bills. There are 19, I believe, total, to have your 2 minutes or so to comment to the entire delegation about these bills. Ms. Coleman, can you remind us again of the start time of Sunday's hearing? I know it's an afternoon hearing. Ms. Coleman? Mr. Holland, do you happen to know the time of Sunday's hearing? I believe it's, and are you going to be, well, I don't know if you're going to be present or not. I don't want to put you on the spot, but usually we have an attorney present at those hearings to answer any legislative questions.
I will not be there, but the counsel that will be there, I just asked him if he knows what time it's at. Just give him a second. See. Yeah.
I know it's mid to late afternoon. I know it's not early. And is it still, is it 19 bills? Is that the number you have? That's the number we've been discussing in leadership. And then there was some, I think, suggestion of a bill, possibly a late filed bill or 2 maybe being withdrawn, but it's a significant.
Yes, it is 19 bills and it's at 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Okay, so I was close. Okay, so 4 p.m. on Sunday, rather than the public having to join, I think today's meeting, for anyone observing, they're watching on YouTube. And so, you don't have the ability to participate directly to ask questions. And that was not the purpose of today's discussion. However, Sunday is all about public input. And so Sunday at 4 p.m., and I know that Ms. Coleman will circulate that Zoom link, get it out there. It'll be on the county delegation's website for folks to log on and participate on Sunday and tell us what you think about these 19 bills. And so with that, Delegate Alston and Delegate Woods, thank you for joining. And I am going to call for the meeting to be adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and we'll look forward to seeing you Sunday. Thank you, Mr. Holland, for your assistance. All right, bye-bye.